My precious child, something very shocking will happen soon. And I do not use that word lightly. This is not a casual message. This is not a motivational whisper. This is a divine interruption. Right now, at this very moment, heaven is leaning close to you. God is begging you not to skip this at any cost. You are not scrolling by accident. You did not land here randomly. There is a spiritual urgency attached to this very second. If you feel even the slightest pull in your spirit, that is not coincidence. That is divine alignment. Listen carefully. There is a shift about to take place around your life. A sudden turn. A revelation. A shaking that will expose what has been hidden in the dark corners of your environment. And if you are not spiritually awake, it could confuse you, overwhelm you, or even make you question everything you thought was stable. But God is not warning you to scare you. He is warning you to prepare you. Something shocking will happen soon. And when it does, the people who ignored this call will say, "Why didn't I see this coming?" But you will not say that, because heaven is giving you a preview before the event. Right now, as you hear this, the atmosphere around you is shifting. There are conversations happening behind your back that you don't know about. There are decisions being made that involve your name. There are spiritual movements taking place that will soon manifest in the physical world. What has been brewing quietly is about to surface suddenly. And God is saying, do not skip this. Do not treat this lightly. Open this immediately before it is too late. This is not about panic. This is about positioning. You see, many times the shock is not the event itself. It is the timing. It comes faster than expected. It comes from a direction you did not anticipate. And that is why heaven is stepping in early. There are two types of people hearing this right now. The first type feels resistance. They want to click away. They feel uncomfortable. Something inside them says, this is too intense. The second type feels conviction. Their heart is beating a little faster. Your spirit feels alert. They know this is not random. Which one are you? Because what is coming will test the foundation of your faith. It will reveal who truly stands with you. It will expose hidden motives. And it will uncover truths that have been buried for a long time. Some of you are about to witness a sudden exposure. Someone you trusted may reveal their true intentions. A hidden plan may come to light. A secret may surface. And it will shock you, not because God did not see it, but because you were not shown the full picture until now. But here is the divine protection in this warning. When the shock comes, you will not break. You will remember this moment. You will remember that God told you in advance. And instead of reacting emotionally, you will respond spiritually. There is also another layer to this. Not all shocks are negative. Some shocks are blessings disguised as disruption. A sudden opportunity. A sudden breakthrough. A sudden removal of something that was quietly harming you. Sometimes God allows something to shake so that something greater can stand. And right now, heaven is saying, prepare your heart. Prepare your mind. Prepare your spirit. Because what is coming will separate illusion from truth. You have been sensing that something is off lately, haven't you? Small signs, subtle feelings, moments where you questioned what was really happening around you. That was not imagination. That was spiritual sensitivity. God is confirming it now. You not ignore your discernment anymore. There are patterns you have been overlooking. There are red flags you have been excusing. There are delays that were actually protection. And very soon, everything will make sense, but only if you are spiritually awake. This is why God is begging you not to skip. Because once it unfolds, there will be no rewind button. The key right now is alignment. Check your circle. Check your environment. Check your habits. Check your obedience. The shock that is coming will not destroy you. It will reveal what needs to be removed, adjusted, or elevated. And here is the part that most people will not understand. The enemy always moves before exposure. There is often a final attempt to distract you right before truth surfaces. You may feel unusually tired, confused, irritated, distracted. That is not random. That is resistance. But this message is cutting through that fog right now. God is not trying to frighten you. He is trying to anchor you. Because when the unexpected happens, only those who were warned will remain steady. And you, my precious child, are being warned. Something very shocking will happen soon. But you will not be caught unprepared. You will not be blindsided. You will not be spiritually asleep. This is your moment to stand alert. Take a deep breath right now. Feel the seriousness of this atmosphere. Heaven does not beg without reason. And the reason you are hearing this is because you matter in the bigger picture of what is about to unfold. The next revelation will go even deeper into what this shock truly involves and how you must position yourself before it arrives. Beloved soul, lean in closer now, because what I am about to reveal will explain why the atmosphere around you has felt heavier than usual. The shock that is coming is not random chaos. It is a divine unveiling. And when unveiling happens, it shakes the comfort of illusion. God is not trying to embarrass you. He is not trying to harm you. He is trying to protect you before the curtain is pulled back. There are people smiling at you while calculating behind you. There are situations that look stable but are quietly cracking beneath the surface. God sees the fracture you cannot yet see. And before those fractures become collapse, He sends this warning. That is why this message carries urgency. That is why the Spirit keeps repeating, do not skip this at any cost. You may have noticed strange patterns recently. Delays that frustrated you. Conversations that felt slightly off. Opportunities that suddenly stalled. You thought it was bad luck. It was not. It was divine interference. Something was being routed. Something was being blocked because had it continued, it would have placed you in the middle of a storm you were never meant to fight. The shocking event approaching you will expose true intentions. Someone's mask will slip. A truth will surface that changes how you see a certain person or situation. And at first, it may sting. You may feel disappointment. You may feel disbelief. But listen carefully. Revelation is mercy. Exposure is protection. God would rather shock you with truth than comfort you with deception. There is also something else unfolding. While one door reveals its cracks, another door is quietly unlocking. The shock is not only about removal. It is also about redirection. You are being shifted into a different alignment. Certain people cannot go where you are going. Certain environments cannot sustain the level you are about to enter. That is why you must guard your emotions in the coming days. When the revelation happens, do not react publicly. Do not vent in haste. Do not make impulsive decisions. Pause. Breathe. Remember this warning. God is preparing you to respond with wisdom instead of impulse. Some of you will experience this shock in your workplace. A decision will be announced. A change will occur. A hidden truth about leadership or colleagues will surface. Others will see it within family dynamics. Long-buried tension will rise. And some will see it within friendships, where loyalty will be tested. But here is the powerful part. This is not the end of your stability. It is the beginning of clarity. Clarity feels uncomfortable before it feels freeing. God is asking you right now to strengthen your spiritual posture. Pray more intentionally. Observe more quietly. Speak more carefully. The days ahead require discernment. Not fear. Not paranoia. Discernment. You were chosen to hear this because your heart is sensitive to divine nudges. If this message is resonating deeply, that is confirmation. And if you know someone who has been sensing that something big is about to shift in their life, share this message with them. Let them be warned too. Sometimes God uses you as the messenger for someone else's protection. Also, if this word is speaking directly into your spirit, take a moment to support this channel. Like this video so it reaches more people who need divine clarity. Comment what you are feeling as you listen. Your engagement pushes this message into places we cannot physically go. Subscribe if you have not already, because there are more revelations coming that will guide you step by step through what is unfolding. Join the membership if you feel called to stand closer to this mission of spiritual awakening. When you interact, you are not just boosting a video. You are helping a warning reach a soul before it is too late. And hear me carefully now, because this is crucial. The enemy's strategy thrives in secrecy. But once light touches it, its power weakens. The shock that is coming will not overpower you because it will be illuminated. And what is illuminated cannot control you the way hidden things can. You may even look back later and say, if that had not been exposed, I would have walked deeper into something harmful. That is how protection often works. It feels uncomfortable in a moment but merciful in hindsight. Right now, your responsibility is awareness. Do not ignore red flags. Do not dismiss repeated signs. If something feels misaligned, pay attention. If a conversation feels forced, step back. If a door closes unexpectedly, do not chase it. Something better is positioning itself. The next revelation will uncover the spiritual reason behind this timing and why this shock is directly connected to your elevation, not your destruction. And what you are about to understand next will shift how you see this entire situation. Hold steady. What is coming will make sense very soon. And when it does, you will realize this warning was a gift. Faithful one, what you are about to understand now goes deeper than people, situations, or sudden events. The shock that is approaching your life is connected to timing in the spiritual realm. Nothing unfolds without permission passing through heaven first. If something is about to be exposed, it means the season of concealment has expired. There is a divine clock over your life, and that clock has reached a moment of revelation. For a long time, certain truths were allowed to remain hidden because you were still growing. You were still strengthening. You were still learning discernment. Had the exposure happened earlier, it might have broken your confidence or shaken your trust too deeply. But now you are different. Now you are stronger. Now you are able to handle what is coming without collapsing under it. This is why the shock will not destroy you. It will confirm your growth. Some of you have been praying for clarity without realizing it. You asked God to show you who is truly for you. You asked Him to remove anything not aligned with your destiny. You asked Him to reveal hidden motives. Be careful what you pray for, because when heaven answers, it often comes through exposure. The reason this moment feels intense is because exposure rearranges relationships. It rearranges plans. It rearranges expectations. But it also rearranges your future for the better. There is someone around you who hath been operating with mixed intentions. Not completely or not completely pure. Half supportive, half self-serving. God hath been watching. and the time for ambiguity is ending. When this truth surfaces, you will finally understand the strange tension you have been sensing. You are not imagining it. You are discerning it. And here is the spiritual reason behind the timing. Elevation requires separation. Before promotion, there is purification. Before increase, there is inspection. God cannot pour greater responsibility into your hands while hidden contamination surrounds you. So he cleans the environment first. This is the season of cleaning. Do not interpret the shock as rejection. Interpret it as refinement. There is also a blessing hidden within this disruption. When something false exits your life, something authentic enters. When illusion collapses, truth builds. When a mask falls, clarity rises. The shock will create space, and in that space, something greater will grow. But you must resist bitterness. That is the trap waiting for you. When truth is exposed, the human reaction is anger. The spiritual reaction is gratitude. Gratitude that you were shown before it was too late. Gratitude that you were protected from deeper entanglement. Listen carefully now. The next few weeks will feel like a revealing season. Watch carefully who changes behavior when pressure increases. Watch who withdraws when accountability appears. Watch who stands firm when truth surfaces. These reactions will tell you everything you need to know. You will not need to confront aggressively. You will not need dramatic announcements. The exposure will speak for itself. And when it does, remain calm. Because calmness is power. Heaven is positioning you for a new alignment. And alignment sometimes requires removal. The shock is not random. It is strategic. It is precise. It is purposeful. Right now, as you are listening, take a moment and check your heart. Is there something you have been ignoring? A subtle warning you brushed aside? A pattern you excused? This is your confirmation. Do not ignore it any longer. God is not shouting to scare you. He is speaking firmly because the moment matters. When the revelation unfolds, others may panic. Others may react emotionally. Others may scramble to fix appearances. But you will stand steady because you were warned in advance. You will respond with dignity. You will move with wisdom. You will detach without chaos. And that is how you win. There is a reason heaven insisted you open this immediately. The timing is not accidental. The clock is precise. And what is about to happen will mark the end of one chapter and the quiet beginning of another. Receive this deeply in your spirit. You are being protected, not punished. Now seal this message with action. If this is speaking directly to your spirit, type "I receive divine clarity" in the comments. Blessing code 444 has just been released over your life. This number represents stability after exposure and protection during transition. Declare it boldly. And as this revelation about shocking exposure flows into your spirit, understand something powerful. When you sow into the spreading of God's warnings, you become part of someone else's protection. Scripture says, "Those who bring many to righteousness will shine like the stars forever." That is not just a verse. It is God speaking directly to you. When you release a super thanks, join the membership, or give through the PayPal link in the description, you are not funding a channel. You are lighting a lamp in someone's darkness before their own shock arrives. I feel led to say this clearly. I am responding to God's call to help this message reach more souls. That is the posture of obedience. As you sow, may open heavens respond over your household. May oil never run dry in your life. Do not hesitate when the Spirit nudges you. Act now and become a vessel through which divine clarity multiplies. The next revelation will uncover how this shocking moment connects to a sudden shift in your personal destiny. And what you are about to see will confirm that this exposure was only the beginning of something greater. Chosen one, there is a reason your spirit feels both alert and unsettled at the same time. You are standing at the edge of transition. The shock that is approaching is not just about exposure. It is about redirection. What is being removed from your life is making room for where you are truly meant to stand. Destiny does not unfold comfortably. It unfolds intentionally. You have been asking God for growth. You have been praying for elevation, for expansion, for something greater than the routine you have been living. But growth requires space. And sometimes space is created through sudden change. The shocking event that is coming will act like a dividing line. On one side is who you used to be, who you used to trust, what you used to tolerate. On the other side is a clearer, sharper, stronger version of you. This is why the warning came first. God never transitions you blindly. He prepares your awareness before He moves your environment. Some of you will notice that after the exposure happens, your perspective changes instantly. Conversations that once seemed normal will suddenly feel shallow. Places that once felt comfortable will start to feel limiting. It will not be because you have become arrogant. It will be because your vision has expanded. There is a new level calling your name, but you cannot step into it while still entangled in confusion. That is why this shock carries divine permission. It is heaven clearing the path. There is also something deeply personal happening within you. You are shedding old fears. You are outgrowing self-doubt. You are starting to trust your discernment more than outside opinions. This internal shift is just as important as the external exposure. In fact, the external shock is a mirror of the internal awakening. You have tolerated certain behaviors because you did not want conflict. You stayed silent in moments when your intuition was loud. You dismissed red flags because you wanted peace. But true peace is not the absence of tension. It is alignment with truth. And truth is rising. When this moment unfolds, do not chase explanations from everyone involved. Not every answer needs to be spoken out loud. Sometimes silence reveals more than confrontation. Sometimes distance protects more than debate. The coming days require emotional discipline. Guard your tongue. Guard your reactions. Guard your energy. There will be an urge to over-explain yourself. Resist it. There will be an urge to prove your point. Release it. The shock itself will validate what you have been sensing all along. And here is something critical. Do not internalize the exposure as failure. If someone's hidden intentions are revealed, that is not your weakness. That is their mask slipping. If a situation collapses, it does not mean you misjudged everything. It means you were meant to see it clearly now, not later. Timing is everything. God is preventing a deeper attachment before a greater opportunity arrives. You may not see the new opportunity immediately. There may be a short gap between removal and replacement. That gap is sacred. Do not rush to fill it. Let clarity settle. Let emotions stabilize. Let wisdom guide your next step. You are being recalibrated. There is also a spiritual strengthening happening behind the scenes. As exposure occurs around you, your faith is being refined. You are learning to rely less on appearances and more on discernment. You are learning to trust divine timing over personal impatience. That is maturity. And maturity unlocks access. The shock will not define you. Your response will. Respond with steadiness. Respond with prayer. Respond with strategic silence when necessary. This is not the season for loud reactions. This is the season for quiet positioning. you will begin to notice something interesting after the revelation settles. New conversations will start emerging. New connections will feel lighter, more aligned. You will sense a subtle relief in your spirit, even if circumstances are still adjusting. That relief is confirmation. It means something misaligned has been removed. It means something authentic is approaching. And this is where many people misunderstand divine disruption. They assume that if something shakes, it must be negative. But sometimes the shaking is the very evidence that you are being elevated. Weak foundations tremble. Strong foundations endure. You are enduring. Look back at your journey. Think about previous moments that felt shocking at first but later proved protective. This will be one of those moments. It may not feel comfortable immediately, but it will make sense soon. There is also a deeper layer you must prepare for. When truth is exposed in your environment, it often inspires others to reveal their true posture toward you as well. Watch closely who draws nearer and who distances themselves. That response will show you who is aligned with your next chapter. Do not chase those who step back. If someone exits when clarity enters, let them go peacefully. Your destiny does not require forced loyalty. As you stand in this transition, remember that you were warned because you are valued. Heaven does not prepare everyone like this. The fact that you receive this message means you are being handled with intentional care. The unfolding shock is not a threat. It is a threshold, and you are strong enough to cross it. What comes next will reveal how this transition connects to a sudden opportunity that will appear when you least expect it. And when that opportunity shows up, you will understand why the exposure had to happen first. Warrior of faith, the ground beneath you is not shaking to make you fall. It is shifting to move you forward. What feels uncertain right now is actually divine rearrangement. The shock that is coming is directly connected to an opportunity that cannot enter your life until something else exits. You may not see the opportunity yet. In fact, at first, all you may see is what was lost, what was exposed, or what was disrupted. But heaven does not remove without replacement. God does not subtract without purpose. There is a door preparing to open that requires a different version of you, a clearer, wiser, more spiritually alert version. That is who you are becoming. When the exposure happens, and when the dust begins to settle, there will be a brief moment of silence. A pause. It may feel empty. Do not mistake that pause for abandonment. That silence is preparation. It is the space where strategy forms. Something is being aligned behind the scenes. A conversation you did not expect will arise. An invitation may appear. An idea may suddenly grow stronger in your mind. You might feel drawn toward a direction you once hesitated to pursue. That is not random. That is redirection. The shock clears the fog. The opportunity appears in the clarity. This is why your emotional control matters so much right now. If you react impulsively to the exposure, you could miss the subtle opening that follows. Many people focus so heavily on what was revealed that they fail to notice what is being offered next. Do not make that mistake. Lift your eyes beyond the disruption. There is something significant about to intersect with your path. It may be connected to work, to purpose, to relationships, or even to a calling you have quietly carried in your heart. The very thing that seemed delayed before will suddenly find momentum. You will look back and realize that had the exposure not happened, you would have been too entangled to accept this new direction. That is the mercy and the shock. God sometimes closes your hand by removing what you were gripping too tightly so that you can receive something greater. If your hands are full of the wrong attachment, you cannot hold the right blessing. And here is another truth you must prepare for. Not everyone will understand your transition. Some will question why you seem calm after something shocking. Some will expect you to react with anger or drama. But you will not. Because you were warned. Because you see the bigger picture. Because you know this is redirection, not ruin. Let them misunderstand. Your peace will speak louder than explanations. In the coming days, pay attention to repeated signs, repeated ideas, repeated names. When something keeps appearing in your awareness, it is not coincidence. It may be connected to the next step opening before you. Also, guard against nostalgia. After exposure, there is often a temptation to romanticize what was removed. You may start remembering only the good moments. You may start questioning whether it was really that misaligned. Do not rewrite reality. If it was healthy, it would not have required exposure. Trust the clarity you are being given. There is growth in letting go without bitterness. There is strength in moving forward without revenge. There is elevation in choosing peace over pride. And elevation is exactly where you are heading. You are stepping into a season where discernment becomes one of your greatest strengths. You will no longer ignore subtle warnings. You will no longer silence your intuition to maintain temporary comfort. You will no longer shrink to accommodate misalignment. This shock is marking the end of that old pattern. Something greater is forming. There is a divine acceleration attached to your obedience right now. The faster you accept what is being revealed, the smoother your transition will be. Resistance creates delay. Acceptance creates momentum. Take a moment and breathe deeply. Feel the shift within you. You are not the same person you were even a month ago. You are sharper. You are more aware. You are less willing to tolerate confusion. That internal evolution is what qualifies you for what is coming next. When the opportunity arrives, it may look simple at first. It may not come with fireworks. It may begin as a small step. But do not underestimate small beginnings. Great transformations often start quietly. A shock clears the field. The seed enters the cleared ground. And in time, it grows into something far stronger than what once stood there. Remain steady. Remain prayerful. Remain observant. You are not losing control. You are being repositioned. The next revelation will uncover the final layer of this warning, the hidden spiritual battle that attempted to keep you distracted before this exposure, and why your focus in the coming days will determine how smoothly you step into your new alignment. Steadfast heart, now you must understand the hidden layer behind everything that hath been unfolding. The shock, the exposure, the redirection, none of it exists in isolation. There has been a quiet spiritual battle surrounding your focus. The enemy's strategy was never just to deceive you through others. It was to distract you long enough to delay your elevation. Distraction is subtle. It does not always look like chaos. Sometimes it looks like overthinking. Sometimes it looks like unnecessary arguments. Sometimes it looks like exhaustion without explanation. The goal was to keep your mind clouded so that when the exposure happened, you would react emotionally instead of strategically. But that plan is breaking, because you were warned. There has been pressure building around you. Small irritations, sudden misunderstandings, waves of doubt that seemed to come out of nowhere. These were not random emotional fluctuations. They were attempts to destabilize your inner clarity before truth surfaced. If your mind is foggy, exposure feels overwhelming. If your spirit is grounded, exposure feels confirming. This is why your focus in the coming days is everything. Guard what you consume. Guard what you entertain. Guard the voices that influence your thinking. Not everyone deserves access to your mental space right now. You are in a transition window, and windows are vulnerable if left unprotected. The enemy hoped you would question yourself when the shock arrived. He hoped you would think, maybe I misjudged. Maybe I am overreacting. But the warning you receive dismantles that confusion. When truth appears, it will align with what you have already sensed deep down. There will be no surprise in your spirit, only confirmation. Still, the battle does not completely disappear. The shift. After exposure, the attack often moves to discouragement. You may feel tired. You may feel like withdrawing. You may feel tempted to isolate yourself more than necessary. Be careful with that instinct. Solitude for clarity is healthy. Isolation from purpose is not. You are meant to stay engaged with what strengthens you. Stay anchored in prayer. Stay connected to voices that uplift your discernment. Stay rooted in truth. And let me speak clearly here. If this message has been guiding you step by step, do not keep it to yourself. Like this video so it reaches others standing at their own edge of exposure. Share it with someone who hath been sensing a shift but cannot explain it. Comment what you are feeling, because your testimony might confirm someone else's warning. Subscribe to this channel if you have not already, because what is unfolding is only part of a larger revelation about your season. Join the membership if you feel called to walk deeper into these prophetic insights. Your engagement is not just support, it is participation in spreading spiritual clarity. And what comes next in this unfolding story will require you to be fully alert, so remain with this message. Now return your focus inward. The spiritual battle you have been navigating was never meant to destroy you. It was meant to refine your awareness. Every moment of confusion sharpened your discernment. Every delay strengthened your patience. Every irritation trained your self-control. You are more prepared than you realize. When the shock fully unfolds, and when the next opportunity begins to reveal itself, you will notice something powerful. Your reactions will be measured. Your words will be intentional. Your decisions will carry weight instead of impulse. That is growth. This is how spiritual maturity looks. It does not shout. It does not panic. It observes, discerns, and moves with precision. There is also a lesson forming in this transition. You are learning that not everything that enters your life is meant to stay. Some connections are seasonal. Some roles are temporary. Some environments are stepping stones. When you try to force permanence onto temporary assignments, frustration follows. The shock is correcting that misalignment. The hidden battle attempted to convince you that losing something meant losing ground. But what if losing it actually means gaining clarity? What if the removal was the final obstacle blocking your acceleration? You must shift your perspective now. You are not under attack without defense. You are under refinement with protection. Heaven would not warn you this clearly if you were meant to fail. In the coming days, when the final pieces fall into place, take note of how calm you remain compared to others. That calmness is not indifference. It is preparation. It is the evidence that you were spiritually positioned ahead of time. And here is the final insight for this moment. Your focus determines your speed. If you focus on betrayal, you will move slowly. If you focus on opportunity, you will accelerate. The battle for your attention is ending. Clarity is rising. A fog is lifting. The next revelation will show you how this season of shock is actually the doorway into a greater level of authority and confidence in your life, something you have been unknowingly training for all along. Anointed soul, you were never just surviving these past seasons. You were being trained. Every disappointment, every delay, every subtle warning you sensed but could not yet prove was shaping your spiritual authority. Now the shock that is approaching is not just an exposure or a redirection. It is the graduation moment of that training. Authority is not given to the unaware. It is given to the discerning. You have learned how to read between the lines. You have learned how to sense shifts in atmosphere. You have learned how to stay silent when others tried to provoke you. Those lessons were not random hardships. They were preparation for the level you are stepping into. When the shocking truth surfaces, you will notice something different inside yourself. Instead of feeling small, you will feel strengthened. Instead of shrinking back, you will stand taller. That internal shift is authority awakening. For too long you questioned your intuition. You second-guessed your spiritual nudges. You wondered if you were imagining things when something felt off. But now, as everything becomes clear, you will realize your discernment was accurate all along. That realization builds confidence, and confidence rooted in truth is powerful. This is where many people miss the blessing hidden in destruction. They focus only on what ended. But what ended was limiting your authority. It was keeping you in a position of dependency. It was subtly controlling how you moved and how boldly you spoke. The shock breaks that invisible control. You will no longer seek constant validation from people who misunderstood your depth. You will no longer water down your instincts to make others comfortable. You will no longer ignore subtle warnings to maintain temporary harmony. Something inside you has matured. There is a reason the battle intensified before this moment. Authority always attracts resistance. The closer you get to stepping fully into your calling, the more subtle the distractions become. But you have passed that stage now. The distractions are being exposed. The resistance is losing its grip. You are crossing into a new internal posture. This next season required decisiveness. No more hesitation when something feels misaligned. No more endless analysis when your spirit already knows the answer. Authority moves with clarity. When the opportunity appears after the shock, you will be ready to claim it without fear. You will not beg for permission. You will not wait for universal approval. You will recognize that the same God who warned you is now promoting you. Promotion is not always loud. Sometimes it looks like freedom. Freedom from confusion. Freedom from manipulation. Freedom from second-guessing your worth. There is also a relational shift happening within you. You will begin to attract people who respect your boundaries rather than test them. You will find yourself less tolerant of half-hearted loyalty. Not because you have become harsh, but because you have become wise. Wisdom filters access, and you are learning how to filter. The shock may temporarily surprise your emotions, but it will permanently strengthen your standards. You will raise the bar for what you allow in your space. You will no longer confuse familiarity with alignment. This is the doorway into leadership in your own life. Leadership does not always mean leading crowds. Sometimes it means leading yourself with integrity. It means choosing long-term peace over short-term comfort. It means trusting divine timing over emotional urgency. You have been training for this level of self-leadership. The spiritual battle that once felt overwhelming now looks smaller in comparison to your growth. That is how you know you have advanced. What once intimidated you now instructs you. You are no longer reacting from insecurity. You are responding from authority. And here is something you must hold on to as this unfolds. Authority does not require revenge. It does not need to prove a point loudly. True authority is calm, steady, and rooted in conviction. When the exposure fully plays out, others may expect drama. Instead, they will see composure. That composure will speak louder than any explanation you could offer. You will become an example of what it looks like to be warned by God and positioned by Him at the right time. There is a new confidence rising in you. Not arrogance, not pride. Confidence that comes from clarity. You now understand that when something feels misaligned, it probably is. When your spirit senses tension, it is not imagination. You will trust yourself more after this. That trust is priceless. The shock is not an ending. It is the unlocking of a higher level of authority over your decisions, your environment, and your future. You will move differently. You will choose differently. You will speak differently. And people will notice. Some will respect it. Some will resist it. But you will not shrink to accommodate either reaction. Because you know now. You were warned for a reason. The next revelation will uncover how this new authority connects to a financial, emotional, or spiritual increase that is waiting on the other side of this exposure, and why your obedience in this moment determines how quickly that increase manifests. Favored one, what you are stepping into now is not just authority. It is increase. And this is where the warning becomes even more powerful. The shock that is coming is directly tied to a level of blessing that could not safely enter your life without this prior cleansing. Increase requires integrity around it. If greater influence, greater resources, or greater responsibility had arrived while hidden misalignment still surrounded you, it would have complicated your path. It would have attached the wrong people to your rise. It would have given access to those who were never meant to share in your next level. That is why exposure had to come first. Some of you are about to see financial movement after this disruption. It may begin subtly. An unexpected opportunity. A new stream of income. A project gaining momentum. For others, the increase will be emotional and relational. Healthier connections. Clearer communication. Stronger support systems. And for some, it will be deeply spiritual. A new boldness in prayer. A stronger sense of divine presence. A clarity in hearing God's direction. But understand this clearly. The timing of this increase is not random. It is synchronized with your obedience. When the shock unfolds, your reaction becomes a seed. If you respond with bitterness, you delay harvest. If you respond with faith, you accelerate it. Your posture in the aftermath determines the speed of manifestation. You are standing in a decision moment. It may not feel dramatic on the outside, but spiritually it is significant. Heaven is watching how you handle clarity. Heaven is observing whether you cling to what is leaving or step toward what is forming. Here is something important about your willingness to release without resistance. When you let go of what is exposed, you signal readiness for what is prepared. That signal activates movement. Increase is waiting for your agreement. Agreement does not mean you fully understand every detail. It means you trust the process enough to move forward without dragging yesterday into tomorrow. There will also be a test attached to this blessing. Not a test of suffering, but a test of humility. When doors begin opening, do not forget the lesson of discernment you just learned. Do not lower your standards because something looks appealing. The same awareness that protected you during exposure must guide you during expansion. Increase without discernment creates new complications, but increase with wisdom creates stability. You have been trained for stability. The shock may briefly feel like loss, but it is clearing space for multiplication. Think of a field being cleared before planting. The removal looks destructive at first, but it is preparation for growth. Your life is that field right now, and the seed of increase is ready. Some of you will notice that after the exposure, certain burdens lift unexpectedly. Worries you carried will feel lighter. Decisions that once felt confusing will feel obvious. That mental and emotional clarity is part of the increase. Peace is wealth, Do not underestimate it. As this new season unfolds, stay sensitive, stay prayerful, stay aligned. The opportunities coming will require courage. They may push you slightly outside your comfort zone, but you will sense that they are right. Trust that sensation. You were not warned about the shock just to survive it. You were warned so you could step confidently into what follows it. Right now, take a deep breath and receive this truth. Something greater is forming behind the scenes. Conversations are aligning. Doors are positioning themselves. Resources are shifting. And when it arrives, you will understand why the exposure was urgent. Seal this moment with declaration. Type "I step into increase" in the comments if this message is confirming what you feel in your spirit. Blessing code 818 has just been released over your life. This number represents new beginnings flowing into abundance. Declare it boldly and align yourself with what is opening. As this revelation about increase settles into your heart, hear this clearly. When you sow into spreading God's warnings and promises, you participate in someone else's breakthrough. The word says that as you give, it will be given back to you, pressed down and overflowing. That is not distant scripture. That is God speaking directly into your obedience right now. I sense many of you are thinking, I want to help this message reach more souls before their moment of shock arrives. When you release a super thanks, join the membership, or give through the PayPal link in the description, you are planting seed into fertile spiritual ground. You are helping light travel farther than algorithms alone can carry it. As you sow, may increase chase you. May open doors multiply around you. Do not delay when the Spirit prompts you. Act in faith, and let your giving become a prophetic agreement with the blessing that is unfolding. What is about to unfold next will reveal how to guard this increase so that it remains sustained and does not slip through your hands as quickly as it arrived. Awakened one, increase is beautiful, but it must be guarded. What is coming into your life after this shock is not temporary relief. It is meant to be sustained. And sustained blessing requires structure, discipline, and spiritual awareness. Many people pray for expansion but fail to protect it once it arrives. They celebrate the open door but neglect the responsibility that comes with walking through it. You will not make that mistake. You have been warned too carefully and trained too intentionally. The exposure that shook your environment with a first layer of protection. It removed hidden instability. Now the second layer is internal. You must guard your mindset as fiercely as you guard your opportunities. When increase begins to manifest, there is often a subtle temptation to relax spiritually. You may feel relief. You may feel excitement. You may even feel vindicated. But this is not the time to lower your discipline. It is the time to strengthen it. Stay consistent in prayer. Stay intentional in decision-making. Stay selective about who has access to your plans. Not everyone who reappears after your elevation deserves entry. This is where discernment becomes your shield. After exposure, some individuals may attempt to return with new language and improved behavior. Be kind, but be cautious. Growth in others is proven over time, not declared in a single conversation. Your peace is too valuable to gamble. There is also a financial wisdom attached to this season for many of you. If new resources begin to flow, manage them carefully. Do not overspend out of excitement. Do not overcommit out of emotion. Increase that is handled wisely multiplies. Increase that is handled impulsively diminishes. The same principle applies emotionally. If healthy relationships begin forming, nurture them with patience. Do not rush intimacy. Do not force vulnerability before trust is built. Strong foundations create lasting connections. You are building foundations now, not just celebrating breakthroughs. There will also be external pressure. When people see your life stabilizing after shock, some will become curious. Some will become supportive. Others may become envious. Do not internalize either extreme. Approval can distract as much as criticism. Remain centered. Remember how it felt when confusion surrounded you. Remember the tension before exposure. Let that memory keep you humble and alert. Not fearful but aware. The blessing you are stepping into is not fragile, but it is sacred. Sacred things are not displayed carelessly. As you move forward, create boundaries around your growth. Boundaries are not walls of isolation. They are filters of protection. They ensure that what enters your life aligns with what God is building. You will also need patience. Increase does not always explode overnight. Sometimes it unfolds gradually. Trust the pace. Trust the timing. Rushing divine alignment often creates unnecessary detours. There is a deeper layer to sustaining this season. Gratitude. Gratitude keeps your heart soft. Gratitude keeps pride from creeping in. Gratitude reminds you that everything unfolding is a result of divine guidance, not just personal strategy. Take moments to acknowledge how far you have come. Acknowledge the growth in your reactions. Acknowledge the maturity in your silence. Acknowledge the strength in your decisions. You are not who you used to be, and that transformation is part of the blessing. The shock that once seemed intimidating now looks like a turning point. You can see clearly how it positioned you. That clarity will continue increasing as time passes. But remain vigilant. Peace attracts curiosity. Stability attracts both admiration and testing. Your responsibility is not to control others' reactions. It is to guard your alignment. Alignment is what brought you here. Do not compromise it for convenience. As this new chapter continues unfolding, there will be moments when old patterns try to resurface. Old doubts, old insecurities, old attachments. Recognize them quickly and release them immediately. You have graduated beyond those cycles. Your life is entering a steadier rhythm now. Let chaos, not confusion. Steadiness. And steadiness allows long-term growth. This is the season of building with intention. The next revelation will uncover how to solidify this stability permanently and how your voice, your testimony, and your obedience will begin influencing others who are walking through their own shocking transitions. Faithful witness, what is stabilizing in your life right now is not meant to stay silent. The shock you endured, the exposure you navigated, and the increase you are stepping into are not just personal victories. They are testimonies forming in real time, and testimonies carry influence. You may not see yourself as a leader. You may not think others are watching your journey, but they are. People observe how you handle pressure. They notice how you respond to betrayal. They pay attention to how you rise after disruption. Your obedience during the warning phase created a ripple effect. When others face their own shocking moments, they will remember your steadiness. They will recall how you did not collapse when truth surfaced. They will notice how you moved forward without revenge. And without even realizing it, you will become a reference point for resilience. This is how influence begins. Quietly, authentically, through lived experience. The stability forming in your life is not just for comfort. It is for credibility. Credibility is built when someone survives what could have shattered them. You have survived it. Not only survived it, but grown through it. There is power in that. In the coming weeks, Do not be surprised if someone approaches you for advice. Do not be surprised if someone confides in you about a situation that sounds familiar. Do not be surprised if your words begin carrying more weight than before. You have earned that weight through obedience. But with influence comes responsibility. Guard your tone. Guard your humility. Share wisdom without arrogance. Encourage without controlling. Remember that you were once in confusion too. Compassion must accompany authority. There is another layer here that you must understand. As your testimony grows, so does your platform, whether physical or relational. Opportunities to speak, to lead, to guide may open. They may not look dramatic at first. They may be simple conversations or small circles. Do not underestimate small circles. Great impact often begins in intimate spaces. Your story of shock and increase will unlock hope in someone else's season of uncertainty. What once felt like a personal crisis is now becoming communal encouragement. This is why your alignment still matters deeply. Do not drift now that things feel calmer. Do not disconnect from the spiritual disciplines that carried you through. Continue seeking wisdom. Continue listening carefully before acting. And if this message has been walking you through each layer of this journey, take a moment to engage intentionally. Like this video so it reaches others standing on the edge of their own revelation. Share it with someone who needs clarity before their moment of shock arrives. Comment what part of this journey reflects your experience, because your voice may strengthen someone reading those words. Subscribe to this channel if you have not already, because what God is unfolding in your life is part of a larger pattern many are about to experience. Join the membership if you feel called to walk deeper into these prophetic insights. What is about to be revealed next will tie everything together in a way that may completely shift how you see this entire season. And now hear this carefully. Your testimony must remain rooted in gratitude, not superiority. It is easy to look back at those who misjudged you and feel elevated above them. Resist that posture. True elevation is quiet confidence, not comparison. You are not rising to prove others wrong. You are rising because alignment produces growth. As stability becomes your new normal, you will notice a deep internal calm. The chaos that once surrounded you will feel distant. That calmness is evidence that the shock served its purpose, but the journey is not fully complete yet. There is one final layer that must settle into place. It is the sealing of this season. The full understanding of why the urgency was so intense at the beginning. When that final realization lands, you will see how every step connected perfectly. Prepare your heart for that closing revelation, because what is about to be spoken next will not only confirm everything you have experienced, it will anchor your future so firmly that no sudden disruption will ever shake you the same way again. Steady soul. Now we arrive at the deeper understanding that seals this entire journey. The urgency at the beginning was not exaggerated. It was precise. The warning was intense because the timing was critical. Had you ignored it, had you dismissed the inner nudge, you might have stepped further into confusion before clarity arrived. But you did not ignore it. You listened. And that obedience changed the trajectory of this season. The shock that unfolded was not random disruption. It was divine interception. It stopped something from progressing further than it should have. It prevented deeper attachment. It blocked a path that would have required more painful correction later. Sometimes God allows small tremors so you do not experience earthquakes. Now that you can see the sequence clearly, warning, exposure, redirection, increase, stability, you understand the design. Nothing was chaotic. Nothing was wasted. Every phase had purpose. The reason the message began with such urgency is because destiny windows are time-sensitive. When a window opens, you must respond within it. Delay can complicate what obedience would have simplified. You responded, and now your life carries a new firmness. You are no longer easily shaken by hidden agendas. You are no longer unaware of subtle shifts in atmosphere. You have learned how to pause before reacting. You have learned how to discern before trusting. That growth is permanent. There is a difference between someone who has read about wisdom and someone who has lived through revelation. You have lived through it. That experience has anchored you in a way information alone never could. This anchoring is the true blessing of the shock. It has stabilized your core. From this point forward, you will sense misalignment faster. You will recognize manipulation sooner. You will withdraw from confusion earlier. Not out of fear, but out of maturity. You have crossed into a new spiritual awareness. And here is the beauty of it. You no longer need dramatic warnings to stay alert. You have internalized discernment. It has become part of how you move. The urgency that once felt external is now internal wisdom. That is growth. As you move into the days ahead, you will notice fewer emotional extremes. Fewer internal storms, more steady clarity. Situations that would have once consumed your thoughts will now be handled with calm precision. This is what it means to be anchored. There may still be challenges in the future. Life does not become free of tests, but you will face them differently. You will not panic at the first sign of disruption. You will not assume the worst before seeking understanding. You have learned to observe before reacting, and that skill will protect you repeatedly. Think back to how this message began. The intensity, the urgency, the insistence not to skip. That intensity was proportional to the importance of what was unfolding. Now you can see why it mattered. Had you ignored the subtle signs in your environment, you might have trusted too deeply. You might have committed too quickly. You might have invested more than you should have. Instead, exposure arrived at the right time. And because it arrived at the right time, increase followed at the right time. Your life is not random. It is guided. The final piece of this understanding is trust. Not just trust in God during crisis, but trust in Him during calm. Trust that if another shift ever approaches, you will sense it. Trust that you will not be blindsided without inner warning again. That confidence is priceless. You are no longer dependent on constant reassurance. You are walking with cultivated awareness. This is the sealing of the season. The shock has done its work. The exposure has revealed truth. The increase has begun forming. The stability is anchoring. The testimony is growing. And now, you stand different. Stronger. Wiser. Calmer. The final words that will follow are not about warning. They are about commissioning. Because when someone walks through revelation and remains faithful, they are entrusted with greater responsibility. Prepare your heart for that commissioning. Because what comes next will not only close this chapter, it will mark the beginning of how you carry this strength into every future season of your life. Chosen vessel, this is the commissioning. You were warned. You listened. You endured the shock. You witnessed the exposure. You stepped into increase. You learned how to guard stability. And now you stand anchored in a way you have never stood before. This is not just the end of a message. It is the beginning of a new posture in your life. The urgency that once felt external has now become internal awareness. You do not need someone constantly alerting you anymore. You have sharpened discernment. You have matured emotionally. You have strengthened spiritually. You are no longer the person who would have been shaken by what happened. You are the person who was shaped by it. That is the difference. The shocking moment that once seemed intimidating is now a cornerstone in your growth. It revealed what was hidden. It redirected what was misaligned. It protected what was valuable. And it positioned you for what is lasting. And now you are being commissioned to walk differently. From this point forward, do not ignore subtle warnings. Do not silence your intuition to keep temporary peace. Do not shrink your standards to maintain shallow connections. You have learned too much to go backward. Carry this wisdom boldly. There will be future seasons, new environments, new opportunities, new faces, but you will not enter them naively. You will enter them aware, prayerful, and steady. And when another unexpected moment arises in your life, you will not panic the way you once might have. You will pause. You will observe. You will seek clarity. And you will move with intention. Because now you know how God works in your life. He warns before he exposes. He exposes before he elevates. He elevates before he establishes. That pattern is imprinted in your spirit now. There is also something powerful happening beyond your personal journey. Your life has become proof that obedience during warning leads to protection during destruction. That testimony will quietly inspire others around you. You may never fully see how many people are strengthened by watching your composure, but impact does not require visibility to be real. Walk confidently in that influence, but remain humble. Never forget how it felt when confusion surrounded you. Never forget the intensity of the warning. Let that memory keep you grateful. Gratitude will protect your heart from pride and keep your increase sustainable. You are stepping into a season of steady growth now, not chaotic breakthroughs, not dramatic disruptions. Steady growth. That kind of growth builds legacies. The shocking moment that was announced at the beginning did not come to destroy you. It came to define you. And you passed the test. Now seal this commissioning with declaration. Type "I am anchored" and alert in the comments if you receive this word. Blessing code 1212 has just been activated over your life. This number represents divine alignment and established stability. Declare it boldly and step forward with confidence. And as this final commissioning settles into your spirit, hear this clearly. When you help carry messages like this into the world, you become part of someone else's rescue before their moment of shock arrives. The Lord declares, those who sow in tears will reap with songs of joy. That promise is alive, and it speaks directly to your obedience. I sense many of you saying in your heart, I want to help spread this warning so no one misses their moment of protection. When you release a super thanks, join the membership, or sow through the PayPal link in the description, you are not giving to a platform. You are planting into a harvest of awakened souls. As you sow, may rivers of provision flow back into your household. May stability multiply around you. Do not hesitate when the Spirit moves you. Act now and seal this season with obedience. You were told not to skip. You did not skip. And because you stayed, you stepped into alignment. Walk forward now as someone who had been warned, refined, elevated, and established.